It's a right puddle, that beggar, isn't it? Like a bloody boating lake. Skirt around this little edge path here. A bit slippy, don't want to fall in. Might drown. There we go, we're through. Alright. It's a cold one today. Heading up Harland Edge. Hoping to get across to Hobhurst house. Maybe take Tree Point, tag the actual summit for the Ethel. It's been a while since I was down here, and it was certainly much better weather. I'm expecting some quite inhospitable ground, which is not brilliant. I remember it being pretty bad when it was dry, so this might not be quite as successful as I'm hoping for. But nonetheless, this is the day that I'm spare, this is the day that I've got to do it, so come on, let's rock on, Tommy. Bit misty today as well. We've got a little sign there for Hobhurst's house, just up there. But we're not going that way yet. Something else I want to check out. So we're going to continue up this track. Tell you what, I'm going to have to get my gloves out. Bleeding freezing, my hands. So these are my Alpkit Vulcan mitts. So before we head up to Hobhurst's house, there's apparently a little stone circle on this moor that I want to have a look out at, and we hit a right turn coming up any second. So I've been walking for about 5 more minutes, and the thing is, when you get some extra, someone's having a nightmare with a dog, but it sounds like when you get some extra layers on and you get walking, you soon warm up. So I'm quite hot and handy. The stone circle that I was talking about is just here. A couple of quite prominent stones as well. Looks quite nice. Let me show you. I love a stone circle, me. Oh yeah, it's decent, listen. Oh, it's muddy. Look at that bad boy. That's certainly the tallest stone of the circle. And there's quite a few. There's a fair few other prominent rocks now. You never know whether these are meant to be maybe put here by accident. You sometimes see a little inner ring of stones in some of these kind of stone circles, so they may meant to be they might not. So I've just had a little bit of a read, and apparently there's 10 very prominent stones. I thought I counted 12, but there are 10 that are like part of the circle. However, with how they're spaced, they believe that maybe they were up to 20 at one point. It was quite easy to see just from looking at it that that is the largest standing stone, certainly the highest, this one here. And then this is the biggest one that still stays standing, but not the highest. And if that one was still standing, that would be the biggest. So it's believed that this bottom side is the entry to the stone circle that we see in front of me. And apparently it's called Park Gate Stone Circle. Not that shopping centre over at Rotherham. I don't think it's all to do with that. But yeah, I love a stone circle. And this is not a bad one. Tad small, but nice. Park Gate Stone Circle. Put it on your list to come and check out. Anyway, let's carry on this way. Leave Park Gate behind. So a bit ago where we saw the Hobhurst's house sign, this is the path that were pointing up to come. And then we come round here and this is the track that I've just come from. So let's carry on up and get up to some little kind of bridge structure. Another stile for us to navigate over. Let's have a look if this gate's usable though. It certainly looks like it is. Let's just get that zipped back up. I'd been a lot more successful if I put camera down, wouldn't I? And this is what we're walking in at the minute. Terrible. And if this is what path's like, then who knows what it's going to be like when I have to go across top. But nonetheless, let's keep going. So I hear you shouting at me. What is Hobhurst's house? Well, let me tell you. But first, let's get through this comedy act. What the... Oh my god. So Hobhurst's house is a burial mound at the top of Beeley Moor, which is on the end of Harland Edge. And it's unique for the reason that it's not a circle, which most of them are. This one's almost a perfect square, considering how old it is. That's very odd for the time, certainly around these parts of the world. I'd take gloves and hat off, bleeding roasting. Quite an uphill slog, this one. Fair way to go, and I think if you can see it through mist, yeah, we've still got to get somewhere up here anyway. It's not too far, but pretty misty. But we're just coming up to this cairn on top of, well, like that's at top, it's not quite top, but this is where we turn right and head up to Hobhurst's house. Oh, there we go. So, and so it really flattens out quite quickly. And Hobhurst's house, 100 metre. I always find these gas lines that are piped across moorland crazy. But there's some more on there. And here we go. We're just coming up on, I think you can just see the little information board that's there. Here we go, Hobhurst's house. The square burial mound of the Peak District. Quite a battered board, if I'm honest with you. This is what they think it probably originally looked like. Wait, let's get over here and have a look. So these are a couple of standing stones, and you can see a couple more here. Let me try and zoom out and get a slightly bigger picture. So it's not all too big actually, quite small. And then, as we've seen in quite a few of these kind of burial cairns, there's the trench. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but like we're on like an elevated area here. So this will have stood up above the level down there. It's quite difficult to show. I'd probably have more success if I had the drone. Spin camera around, and so you can see like down there this gully runs all the way down, and we're on a raised area here. And then that dips down again. That's where the burial chamber would have been. Nearly went down there. That'd have been alright. I don't think it's quite known why they built a square one. I don't know if it's still puzzling to this day. There's certainly nothing I read about it kind of gives it away. But anyway, let's carry on along Harland Edge. That was a nice little quick look at Hobhurst house. Let's just scoot along Harland Edge, grab the Ethel, may go onto the trig, and then we'll call it a day. So we've lost all the paths now, walking across the open moorland on his way to, I'm going to get to the edge of Harland Edge and walk along it. I think I could have actually done it a slightly shorter route if I'd have gone other way, but as per normal, I didn't make best of decisions. I'll tell you what, I might need hat back on. It's gone a bit cold, if I'm honest with you. Snout's cold and all. Oh, beggar me. And then out of nowhere, this track starts again, which is nice. Certainly better than walking in all that boggy stuff I was before. And we should hit Harland Edge, just another 100 metres or so. We should get to the edge. Sun's having a right fate to get through clouds. Go on, lad. So it's straight over all this, but you can roughly navigate it. It's actually, this little track's actually reasonably clear, so it's not too bad. We're just going to follow this up anyway. Tell you something, visibility's not getting any better. It is misty, boggy, hard to walk through this. Bracken and heather, it's a right slog. I don't know whether this is an old boundary wall or something like that, but it certainly looks like it's been made rather than kind of just evolved there. It's quite difficult to see on camera, but the edges kind of like shallowing out now, higher up we get. So here we are. This is, I don't know if this is one of them old like shepherd's hut things, a little kind of like old bothy type job or what, but this is as good as the Ethel top on Harland Edge. Oh, that's not been one of the more enjoyable ones. When I came up first time, I went up to Trig Point and walked along. It were in spring, it was warm. There were a fair bit of heather about, but it was not like this. This has been terrible today. So you can see I'm wet up to my thighs, top of my thighs. Yeah, we just mounted it on my stick. I've seen some reasonable stuff, but as I said, this final slog of this moorland has just been no need, not required. Just another like kind of ridiculous pick for an Ethel, if I'm honest with you. So I'm heading straight across this. There's no path, like it's up above me, nearly to my chest at some points now. But there's a path that's just up here. I'm going to get to that and have a nice relaxing walk back. There's no point me navigating back along edge. It's terrible. So I'm just going to get to a path as soon as I can and get back on my way. Thanks for coming with me. I hope you found it interesting seeing Parkgate Stone Circle and Hobhurst house, even if the final part and actually getting to the summit and Ethel weren't all too brilliant. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you another time. Hasta la vista. Look at this. Just got back down. Completely clear. Lovely blue skies. And you can see all the way along Harland Edge. And while I were up there, you could see beggar all. Them's the breaks. That's the Peak District.